Bore da. Croeso I Gymru. More specifically, welcome to the A5 as we're leaving Bethesda, heading down towards Capel Curig and Betws-y-Coed. Okay, so I'm giving this Honda CRF300 Rally a first ride, and we'll just see what my first impressions are. Really, actually just going for a ride on normal roads. I'm running it in, it's brand new, so I'm not going to be thrashing it. So it's just a general ride, see how it goes. I'm not going to be going off-road on this ride. There's a few reasons for that. One, cowardice. Remember, there are old bikers, there are bold bikers, but there are no old bold bikers. So cowardice plays one part, lack of familiarity on the bike plays another. I want to make sure that I'm comfortable on it in surroundings that are familiar to me before I start pushing the envelope. Thirdly, as I said in my walk around video, although it's called a rally, it doesn't come with bash plates, so there's no real protection for the engine, so I need to get some stuff sorted. The one I particularly want is out of stock at the moment, it's on back order, so we're just waiting for that. I'm sure that once it arrives it'll be an easy fit. We'll have a quick look at that when we get there, get to it, and once I've got the protection of that, plus also some buckbusters, which are also surprisingly enough on back order, I'll be able to go off and feel more comfortable in getting myself uncomfortable, so to speak. So this is the old A5. Normally if I'm on the Enfield I take the road over that way, the old original road, but I want to take the main road on this one. So this is, as I've said before, just under 300 cc's. Quite different from the Enfield. The Enfield is a very traditional air-cooled British bike. What would have been then a big bike, a 500. A full-size bike, for want of a better expression. This being only 300 is nearer the 350, which would then be more of a lightweight. Now, a lot of people would say that the Enfield isn't really much more than a lightweight anyway, but that's a moot point. So this differs from the Enfield completely in its design philosophy. It's air-cooled, it's got double overhead cams, it's got 4 valves a cylinder. It's much more of a 21st century piece of kit. It uses upside down forks instead of the old-fashioned style to help with the handling. It's got a monoshock instead of twin shocks. It's a lighter design. Instead of having proper dials, it's got some newfangled TV screen. It's not a TFT, it's an LCD. Do I like it? Yeah, it's okay. It's quite nice to have the contrast between the two. Okay, so the suspension is incredibly soft. Having said, it's got the upside down forks for, you know, better handling. The ProLink suspension, give me that precision and better handling. It's very softly set up. Now that suits me because I wanted a comfortable bike, and at the moment that's suiting me fine. I'm right on the limit of coping with the height of the seats, which is an 880. But the beauty of the soft suspension brings it right down, which is why I can get a foot down on it without any real problems. And if I've had a big breakfast and haven't had a poo, I can get both feet down, both on tiptoes. Oops, left me indicator on. Problem is I've set up with this phone up here, so I can't see the top line of warning lights. They're actually very clear, I've got to say. They're good. It's just that I've positioned the phone in a ridiculous place, so I'll alter that when I get home. These are all points I'm learning as we go along. So having said the suspension's really soft, you'd expect it to have a huge amounts of dive, and certainly all the press say, yeah, it's got ridiculous amounts of dive. Well, I must say I felt worse. I felt a hell of a lot better, but I have felt worse. Yeah, it's got a lot of dive. Now I don't mind that. It's not something that upsets me, and it just isn't really an issue to me. So I'm comfy with that. Whether or not over time I'd want to change it is another matter. There's a good chance I will want to change it, but at the moment, no, I'm more than happy with how it is. So as we're riding along today, this is Glenogwen. Up to my right was Triven. I'm not quite sure the exact pronunciation. See a lot of people parking where they shouldn't park. A big warning, this is a very popular area to be towed away. So if you don't park in the right places, you will lose your vehicle. Well, I'm rolling along in 5th gear. This is a 40 limit. Or its signpost is the 40 limit. Whether there is a genuine traffic regulation order in place, I don't know, but I'm not going to take any chances. Oh, see how generous the council are today. Officially this is no parking on the left, but I'm sure they'll be fine today. It's quite popular here, isn't it? Looks like a team trial time, a team time trial training session going on ahead on some bicycles. Or is it just a club run? It's a lovely day for it. Right, so this is another difference between this and the Enfield. I've got it in 6th gear. It's currently revving at about 5,000 revs at 50 mile an hour. So that's quite good to remember. It's a nice view from this position. Now, this kind of bikes are usually associated with having planks for seats, so it'll be interesting to see how I feel later on in the day. I'm not doing a massive ride because up until now the longest I've been on a bike has been half an hour, and that's 2 rides in the last 3 months. So today I'm trying to see if I can go a little bit longer. Absolutely fantastic scenery. The bike's soaking up any bumps really nicely. It is noisy, this helmet, so I can't tell whether the screen's particularly noisy or not. It's a bit difficult for me, that one. However, I do feel like there's a fair amount of wind here. There isn't, it just feels like there might be. In fact, the screen's actually doing a pretty damn good job. I just don't notice it, I think. Over the past 5 years I've ridden this road hundreds of times, but on a much bigger fared bike, so yeah, this will be a bit different. Going on the Enfield at this speed it's a visceral experience, is the best way I put it. This is slightly more anaesthetised. We're now coming down towards the 40s of Capelcurig. The riding position is quite nice. It's not forcing me to push my arms forward too much, so it's not hurting. One of my big concerns was the amount of pain I've been getting through my shoulders and neck. And I wanted a bike that was going to take that away. I know it's scope to bring the bars closer to me if I need them, but at the moment it's not too bad. Now if we were to turn right, we'd be going back towards, this is Carnarvon, Porthmadog, and you can go up Penna Pass up near Snowdon if you want, and then back to Llanberis. I'm not going to go that way at the moment. It's a nice valley, nice road down there. It's a bit bumpy. It'd be interesting to see how this copes with the bumps. It doesn't matter if you've got very soft suspension as long as it's well controlled, in my mind. One of the surprising things about the Bullet is, although the suspension is quite hard and harsh and basic, for the bike's performance, it's actually a nice controlled setup. Unless you're going to be riding like an idiot, I don't think you're going to ride beyond the chassis ability. I like Capel-Curig. I think it's a really nice little place. Oh look, we've just an Audi TT, 2 Porsches, Tesla together. Yeah, I think you can safely say that today's going to be one of those days where you'll see quite a few bikes and interesting cars. This place, or this part of Wales I should say, is a real honeypot. Yes, it's a real honeypot for people with an interest in cars, bikes, etc. Living up here, one of the best things being I get to see all the time loads of decent cars, lots of nice bikes, classic displays. Every year there's at least one classic lorry run as well. That's amazing. It really is one of those places that keeps on giving. Not only do we have fantastic scenery, on the whole fantastic weather as you can see, but we also seem to have fantastic roads which attracts fantastic cars and fantastic bikes. You can hear a rattle in my helmet. It's almost as if my visor's coming a bit loose. So if you can hear that, pick that up on the camera, that's either a dodgy bit of wire running loose in the wind, or could be worse, you could be having the visor rattling. So it's either wire or visor, one or the other. Coming down now to Swallow Falls. On our left there's a little turnstile, and you just put a couple of quid in there I think if you want to go and actually look at the falls themselves. So parking there is too busy. There's a big lay-by here that's normally got some space. Now there's a very funny observation that's just hit me. The first thing I did was look down at the dash to see what the temperature might be, in the hope there'd be a temperature gauge. Now if I was on the Enfield, wouldn't even think about it. No, won't have it. All it's got is a speedo. Who cares? Not interested. All I'm interested in is what speed I'm doing, where I'm going, etc. Not interested at all in anything like silly bits of information about a number. It's either hot, cold or comfortable. Let's face it, that's what temperature is. Hot, cold or comfortable. That's all you need to know. And yet I looked down to see if I could see the figure. So sometimes these technical these more modern technical bikes, maybe they're not as good as you think they are. Maybe they are just, they actually doesn't aid the ride, maybe it actually distracts. That's a point to ponder, isn't it? I've got a sheep, a little bit of hair in my mouth. Oh, that's horrible. Well, here we are in Betws-y-Coed. It's a sunny day. It's going to be busy here. It always will be. Nice bit of forked over there for you, just so you could see. These bikes weigh about 150 kilos, and I have to say the weight feels quite low down. I just filled this up before I came out, and I've still got basically a full tank because it's doing 90 odd to the gallon. So that does give you a feel for the fact that even with a full tank it feels like the weight slowed down. See you in a minute. Okay, so we're just leaving Capel-Curig. It's the Brennan National Mountaineering School. It's a massive complex. So as we're heading back towards, that's the Snowdon over there, the big pointy thing. As we're heading back towards Llanberis, now might be an opportune moment to consider a summary. What do I think of the bike? First riding impressions, etc. Well, it's a no-brainer to ride. It does what you want it to do. It's light. Now, bearing in mind I'm running it into, I'm not stretching its performance, but it goes alright. It's not too rough. For a single cylinder, you expect some vibration. It's certainly not too bad. The suspension, on first impressions, is really well suited to this roads. I'm really comfortable compared to how I would expect to be. Yes, there's a lot of travel on it, but hey, I'm not worried about that. The riding position is natural, it's good for me. I could bring the bars back higher and further back and I'd be still comfortable. How it will be off-road, and I might need to have some bar risers on, but certainly for the moment this is absolutely fine. Because it's slightly higher than a normal road type bike for me, the riding position gives me an even more commanding view, which I really like. The dash tells me what I need it to tell me quickly, clearly. It's not distracting. I did notice a little while ago a bit of heat on my right leg because I think there's a fan down there, I'm not sure. But nothing untoward. This is a beautiful area, isn't it? Nice road. Shame there's other people to share it with. The seat itself, now, like I say, most enduro bike type seats or rally bike seats, whatever you want to call them, are bad. And this is not too bad at all. I've been a lot more uncomfortable on a lot more bikes. There's not much in the way of vibration through the pegs until you go low in the rev range. Even then it's not too bad. It's not too vibey. Admittedly, I've set the bar quite low from the Enfield. I'll admit that. But I don't have problems with that either, so hey ho. According to the dash, it's doing 94 to the gallon. I reckon I might see 95 if I'm lucky by the time I get to Llanberis. Remember, it's a brand new bike, it's not loose, it's not done 100 miles yet, so my dreaded arm pain hasn't really crept into any degree. Got a bit of a backache. It's not as painful as it has been. Yeah, it's a bit squirmy compared to a road-tired bike, I'll admit that, but it's perfectly adequate. It doesn't feel dangerous in the dry, at least. What it'll be like in the wet's another matter. I'm running with a Krieger setup here, so I've got some stuff in there that I'm carrying with me today. So there's a bit of weight high up with the full tank of fuel that I've started with and still mostly got. It has to be said, doesn't feel top heavy. Would I take this on a long ride? Yes, no doubt. I'd be comfortable to take this on a long distance. Getting on and off, I'll admit, is a bit of a mare with these when you're running my height, but once you're on, you're okay. You know, you can get your feet down without any real problem, even if you're only on tiptoes. Yeah, it's fine. There's no weight there. Now, that's a key thing. Now, I would have expected to have been, even today, blown around more, because you've got a massive front tyre and it in diameter with very little grip on it. So I would have expected this to have been blown around, and do you know what? It's not been. Now, I fully expect I'm going to be held up all the way down here. We're climbing steadily from Pennygood, coming up to Pennapass. Llangwynant down there. Snowdonia viewpoint over there, where everyone seems to want to take the pictures of themselves on their bikes. It's not a bad place to take a picture. Really isn't. It's a nice place. Well, I've just tried to phone home to let people know that I'm not far from home now. Surprisingly enough, there's no signal. I'm with EE. You know, they're the people that you can get a shave from a barber in London on Snowdon. Well, I'm basically on Snowdon and I can't even make a phone call to my wife. Okay, make of that what you will. Well, this is my first proper ride really of a bike, and I have to say it was the right decision to bring this rather than the Enfield. It's not some techy enduro machine that requires servicing every couple of minutes. It's not shaking me to death. Not that the Enfield does, but it's not got that high torque, thumpy, no compromise visceral experience. It's a little bit more sanitised. And for me in my delicate condition, I have to say this was a nice companion. I keep saying it's like riding a 125, and it is. It's just like riding a 125 that goes well, goes a bit better. Yes, I'd like it to have more power. I would like it to have 50-60 brake horsepower. But then if I had one that was doing 50 to 60 brake horsepower, watch this car go dropping off there. Ooh, he's done all right actually. That's a hell of a drop there. He's going to struggle with that. Here we go. Oh, he's done that nicely. That's steeper than it looks, you know. Look at that. Clearway sign, so we've stopped. Can't say he hasn't seen it, he stopped right in front of it. thought the brakes feel quite good on this. I'm used to brakes that are quite wooden in feel. I've got to say, these actually feel quite nice. I don't have a problem with the Enfield brakes, don't get me wrong. I quite like the raw basic nature of it. And because everything's the same, it's a balanced machine. And this needs to have much more modern sanitised braking system, and it has, it's got it. You know, you can use the brakes and it feels like it'll it responds well. My big fear was this having a bigger front rotor to the 300L, which is without all these stupid gubbins on it. I was worried that that would be unbalancing the machine and making it more dippy and horrible. No, I'm actually really pleased that I made the decision. Should I have got a 300L? Well, time will tell. Should I have spent the extra money on a KTM or Husky? Well, I think I would have regretted it. I really like them, but are they twice the bike that this is? Because that's realistically, I'd be looking at spending twice as much money. And I don't think I'd get twice as much out of it. I genuinely don't. So here we are in Nantes, Paris. No sheep wandering around here today. Oh, okay, it's a shame. I like to see the sheep around. There's the mountain rescue people all there by the look of it. That's good news. I'd rather them be there than up on the mountains. We do get fatalities around here. So there we go. That's our 300L. There we go, that's my thoughts. All round, a jolly spiffing bike, I'm going to say. Oh, and it's just hit 96.6 to the gallon. There you go. Having said that, I've not been going fast, have I? So, will no doubt get worse. So if I was to go land to John and Groats, I could do it for about 10 gallons. 100 quid. It's not too bad, is it? So there we go. Here we go. We're coming into Llanberis now. All in all, this has been a very successful ride. The bike has acquitted itself brilliantly. A very easy accompaniment. for my day trip. I'm going home for lunch now. There we go, Cranberries Croissant. Oops, that's not speed. Right then, what we'll do is we'll just come around here and we'll just, once we've got past the train station, I'll bid you farewell. There we go, that's the train station. Get your steam train or diesel train, whatever they're running, up to the top of Snowdon. On that note, hope you've enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye.